Hello, welcome back to the Cleveland Way, day number 3. So day number 3 takes me from Great Ayton over to Saltburn. So I decided to have a later start today because today is a comparatively short day, certainly by the standards of the last 2 days. A day of around 15 miles, which includes the 2-mile walk from the place where I stayed last night, which I'm just doing at the moment, all uphill, back to the point where I left the trail yesterday, over to Rosebery Topping, and then back over the remainder of the moors before we start heading over towards the coast in Saltburn. So I've taken this first couple of miles really slowly. The body was definitely feeling it after yesterday's exertions, but this kind of slow gradual climb up the hill back to the start of the trail for today as it's slowly starting to wake the legs up, thankfully. Weather-wise today, it's supposed to be sunny, or getting sunny later. It's quite misty again at the moment, and you can see Rosebery Topping over my shoulder, and that's covered in mist. So I'm hoping within the next half an hour, 45 minutes it takes me to walk there, it's cleared. Surely I deserve some views from one of the hills today. Anyway, let's wait to see what happens when we get there. So join me for day 3. Let's see what the day brings. Right, so as I make my way over to a misty Rosebery Topping, shall we talk about last night's accommodation, the Royal Oak in Great Ayton, which is where I stayed in 2020. I think it's probably the only accommodation at this part of the trail, but really impressed. Rooms were nice and comfortable. After the youth hostel bed last night was bliss. Fast asleep as soon as I hit the pillow last night. The only downside was how busy the restaurant was. I thought for a Monday night I wouldn't need to book, and they did squeeze me in about 8 o'clock. But it wasn't all bad news because Monday nights there is everything half price night, which I guess explains why it was so busy. So I can't complain really. And the breakfast this morning was absolutely fantastic. It does make a difference when you are fueled by a nice full English when you set out on these longer days. Right, Rosebery Topping's coming into view. Unfortunately, the peak is still shrouded in mist, but even though it's an offshoot of the trail, we're still going to do it. It'd be foolish not to. Right, short sharp climb to look forward to. Let's go and do it, shall we? Yesterday's route is clear. Just my luck, that. So that's Rosebery Topping, aka the Mantle of the North, has summited and descended. Quite a few people on the top, so no talking to camera up there. You'll notice as well it's clear of mist now, which is typical of my luck, as is the whole of yesterday's route, as I mentioned earlier. Actually looks quite bright over there today. If you want to see Rosebery Topping on a clear day, you might want to go and check out my 2020 Cleveland Way video where I walked up there. Or alternatively, just Google it. There'll be plenty of images that you can find. It does look quite nice over towards Middlesbrough, so I'm hoping that some of this sunny weather is going to join me for the rest of the walk. Right, onwards. Let's head off to the coast now, shall we? I mentioned yesterday that I'm looking to raise money for charity again on my trail this year, as I have done the previous 2 times I've walked a long distance trail. So the charity I'm representing this time is the Walton Centre in Liverpool, who specialise in the treatment and rehabilitation of people who've suffered brain injuries. And one of my team at work, Steph, her husband, who's only a couple of years older than me, he had a stroke back in, I think it was March time this year. Quite a rare type of stroke, one where the survival rates are quite low, but thanks to his determination and the skills and expertise of surgeons, he did manage to pull through. But he spent about 12 weeks at the Walton Centre as part of his recovery. So when Steph told me about the fantastic work they do and how they're, like a lot of these places, underfunded, I thought that's the charity I want to represent this time. So, as always, I went the wrong way there. Absolutely up to yourself if you'd like to donate. Certainly no expectation on my part. Any donations, as always, are gratefully received. So I will put a link to the charity and the Just Giving page in the video description, and if you're able to help out, then fantastic. Thank you very much. So I've left the moors behind now, just walking along Highcliffe Nab. Some fantastic views looking over towards Gisborough. Now, I think that's how you pronounce it. I did get some kind of local independent input into what that place was called. So, if it's not pronounced Gisborough and you live there, then I apologise. I did try. Nice lunch spot here. Just to make out the sea now. Sun's finally out. Who knew? After 2.5 days. I thought I was going to be carrying the extra few hundred grams of weight with my sunglasses and sun cream for the old trip and never using them. How wrong can you be? Well, that didn't last long. The sun's gone back in again. I mentioned yesterday that I'd received a comment on one of the videos from 2020, and I'd talk about it a little bit more today. Now, in order to protect the anonymity of the person making the comment, I shall call him Mr. Troll McTrollalot. And basically, it was a guy who he was basically mocking the fact that I was walking the way in 2020, staying in hostels and B&Bs. And his opinion was that the only way that you should do these types of trails is, you know, if you're carrying 25 kilograms of weight, sleeping on broken bottles and in ants' nests, and wrestling bears. Now, I did reply to his comment, which I've since deleted. You know, I did provide quite a polite reply, basically just saying, look, you know, I totally disagreed. Ultimately, this is your walk, and how you choose to do the walk is entirely up to you, whether that's wild camping, carrying as much weight as you want or as little as weight as you want. Ultimately, it's all about the experience. Even whether you get to the finish line or not, it's all about the experience and making it a walk that means something for you. So I just thought I'd share that because it did make me chuckle, and it still does to this day. I mean, normally I haven't got time for anybody who makes those kind of comments. I just usually delete them. But yes, I thought I'd share it. We'll see if anyone puts a similar comment on the series of videos this time, but if they do, I think I've explained my position, so I won't be replying to it. So, we're just climbing up and out of Saltburn, where the trail has provided. Firstly, there's roadworks on the very busy A171, which meant a really safe passage across there, because I remember that was a nightmare from 2020. And I was just fancying a cup of tea as I was crossing there, and there's a cafe literally just after you cross the road, so as you probably saw, tea and cake was consumed. So I'm just passing through Skelton. The sea is getting ever closer. Just reminds me of the 2020 walk that as I hit the coast for the first time, the weather really started to improve, and it's been absolutely glorious this last couple of hours. Long may it continue. I have a feeling though, looking at the weather forecast, that it ain't going to, but it's all about the here and now, and the here and now is glorious. Who doesn't love a good viaduct, eh? It's one of the more impressive ones. So I'm past halfway, 52 miles to Filey. However, I'm in Saltburn now, so almost at the end of my walking for today. It's only just gone 3 though, so I think, because I didn't get a chance to go there last time, I'm going to have a wander down to the pier before I double back on myself and check in at my accommodation for the evening. So you can't come to the seaside and not visit the pier if there is one. Good day for it. So you can see the path that we'll be taking on to the cliff tops tomorrow. Right, we'll find our accommodation then, but first I think I'm going to get an ice cream. It'd be rude not to while we're at the seaside. So here I am at the Brockley Hall Hotel. I don't know why it's got a touch of the Faulty Towers about it, this place, but I might be wrong. I mean, it's the most expensive night of the trip. Walking through the hotel and up the stairs to my room, it does look like I'm the youngest person staying here by at least about 30 years, but I will let you know when I give you my unofficial TripAdvisor review tomorrow. So anyway, back to the walking. So today I've covered just over 15 miles. Obviously that included the 2 off-trail miles and a little bit of extra distance walking down to the pier and getting an ice cream. Right, so as you saw earlier, I've passed the halfway mark, and tomorrow starts the the whole coastal section of the walk. So looking forward to that, weaving in and out of the little shipping villages. Tomorrow's walk is around 20 miles again, over to Whitby. Weather, I think, when I checked earlier, was looking decent again for tomorrow. Not so good for the leg to Scarborough in a couple of days' time, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Anyway, thanks for watching today. As I mentioned earlier, I'll pop a link to the charity website in the video description in case you want to check that out. But until tomorrow, bye for now.